You're watching the best. Fox 10 News at 9.
A big congrats to the Arizona Cardinals. They pull off a big road win today to start off the season in style. And the president returns to Arizona tomorrow. This time he is courting Latino voters with the state up for grabs. Well, how about those Cardinals? They win the first game of the season, knocking off the San Francisco 49ers and doing it on the road and in a comeback. Let's get right to sports director Richard Sines for a recap. Wow, what a game, Richard. Well, watching football will be different this season. For starters, fans aren't allowed inside stadiums for now. And if sports bars are your thing, well, there's limited seating inside there, too. Fox 10's Jennifer Martinez went out to scope out the sports bar scene today. She joins us live from Phoenix with a look. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Brian. So, yeah, as you mentioned, it will look very different. No one's allowed in the stadiums, and the bars, well, they're not at full capacity. But today it was packed inside, obviously making sure that they were taking precautions. Very different, but the energy, well, it's the same.
Every single person here goes to every game every Sunday.
It wasn't State Farm Stadium, but Marley's in downtown Phoenix is enough for these Cardinal fans.
It makes us feel like home, and we still have the fullest spirit and the full joy, and you're going to hear us loud from this point to that point and all around downtown. As if it was a stadium.
Despite the COVID-19 protocols, Marley's was busy.
I think everyone's following proper protocols. The players are tested daily. I mean, you guys can look around. No one's within, like 12 feet of us. So it feels great. It feels normal part of life.
Arizona Cardinal fans rocking their best Cards jerseys and hats, cheering on their team and enjoying the game.
These are all clearly hardcore fans.
Hoping for a win and their team delivering.
Go Cardinals, baby.
It feels amazing to be back. I mean, just feel a little bit more normal, be able to watch football, hang out with our friends.
Want to know, winning season. A winning season. All right.
And obviously, with the Cardinals winning today, fans are very hopeful for this season. Reporting live in Phoenix, I'm Jennifer Martinez with Fox 10 News.
Thank you, Jenny. Well, President Trump making a political pit stop in the Valley tomorrow. He will host a Latinos for Trump roundtable at the Arizona Grand Resort in Phoenix. It will be his 5th visit to Arizona so far this year. Many political pundits believe that Arizona may be up for grabs this November, and bringing in the Latino vote will be a big boost for the candidates who can pull it off. Fox 10's Justin Lum takes a look at tomorrow's event and what's at stake moving forward. Justin.
Yeah, Brian, like you said, stop number 5 in Arizona for President Trump. Meanwhile, Joe Biden hasn't made a visit here to Arizona this cycle, but his running mate, Kamala Harris, did do a virtual Zoom with Latino small business owners yesterday. So whether it's virtual or in person, both campaigns are targeting about 1.2 million eligible Latino voters in our state.
This is a movement like nobody's ever seen.
On Monday, President Trump returns to the Valley, this time focused on gathering the Latino vote with a roundtable discussion. Pam Kirby, an advisory board member with Latinos for Trump, says she's seen more Latino Republicans. Between campaign offices in Yuma, Tucson, and Phoenix, about 1,100 volunteers are working to keep the state red.
They are seeing the great American comeback. You know, with President Trump, we had record low unemployment in the Latino community, record low poverty levels in the Latino community.
But Democratic Senator Rebecca Rios disagrees. She says the president's response to the pandemic has negatively impacted the Latino community's health and finances. The federal unemployment supplement of $300 just ended here in Arizona.
Next week, Latino families and other families in Arizona that are on unemployment insurance are going to see no additional help from Trump and the federal government. How are families going to survive on a maximum of $240?
President Trump's executive order made the benefits possible for 6 weeks, funded by FEMA. As for other issues at the roundtable, Kirby says the Latino community wants a pro-life president.
President Trump is the most pro-life president we've had. He has been the only president who has actually walked in a Walk for Life march.
Rios believes the ideals of pro-life and pro-choice differ among the Latino community. She says it's a personal decision.
In as much as Republicans don't want to be told to wear a mask, women don't want to be told what to do with their reproductive rights.
Republicans and Democrats can agree the Latino vote will be crucial in a battleground state. Nearly a quarter of Arizona's eligible voters are Latino.
If they choose Joe Biden, that they are then choosing chaos and anarchy.
This is far and wide the most critical election for Latinos that Arizona has ever seen.
So President Trump is set to arrive tomorrow afternoon at the Arizona Grand Resort at 2:15. Live in Phoenix, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Thank you, Justin. A new Fox News poll shows Joe Biden leading President Trump by 5 points, but that the president has been gaining ground since the Republican National Convention. The poll was just released this morning with Biden and Harris sitting at 51%, the Trump-Pence ticket at 46%. According to Fox News polling, likely voters trust Biden more when it comes to the coronavirus and uniting the country. The former VP also does better with women, seniors, millennials, blacks, and Hispanic voters. The president does better when it comes to men, veterans, and overall white voters. Gila River Arena will be turning into a giant voting center for the general election. The Arizona Coyotes organization is teaming up with the City of Lindale and Maricopa County Elections Department to make it happen. The arena will be open from October 28th through November 3rd, offering extra space for social distancing. The Coyotes president calls it a civic duty to create a safe space for voters. Well, tonight, TikTok has reached an agreement to sell its U.S. operations to software giant Oracle. Microsoft announced today its bid to buy TikTok was rejected. It comes 1 week before President Trump promised to ban the Chinese-owned app over fears user data could be funneled to the Chinese government. TikTok has 100 million U.S. users. It denies that it is a national security risk. Coming up after the break, a 1-2 punch possibly for Louisiana. Another big storm heading toward the Big Easy. A live report coming up. Plus, the president heads west to see wildfire destruction firsthand. It comes after criticism that he was ignoring the crisis in California. And McDonald's is testing reusable cups to cut down on waste. How it will work and when it will start, coming up. We start the half hour with a Fox 10 News alert out of Phoenix. Officers on the scene of a shooting near 20th Street and Southern Avenue. We are told that 2 people were shot and taken to the hospital in critical condition. We have a crew on the way. We'll have an update for you tonight at 10. The death toll now stands at 33 from massive wildfires spreading across the West. Millions of acres have burned and thousands of homes have been destroyed. And now there are concerns that the poor air quality could stick around long after the fires are gone. Fox News senior correspondent Claudia Cowan has more from Sausalito, California.
Wildfires racing through Washington state leave the bustling city of Seattle barely recognizable. A side-by-side comparison of just 2 years ago shows how much the wildfires have affected air quality in the area. According to IQ Air, a Switzerland-based company, the city's air quality ranks 3rd worst in the world because of the fires. A bad virus and now bad air making bad times worse for Seattle businesses. Restaurants were just beginning to come back from the coronavirus business downturn, now facing smoky air and toxic breathing quality. Restaurant and bar owners are having to make new adjustments with their clientele and employees over health concerns. Some owners feel the frustrations but try to make the best of a bad situation.
Almost comical, the number of obstacles that are put in front of us every day.
And as wildfires in neighboring Oregon continue to force thousands from their homes, many animals are being left behind. Pet care facilities are now tending to animals injured in the fires. In one vet specialty center, nearly a dozen cats are being treated. Some have burn damage on their skin or paws. Others have lung damage from the hot smoke.
We're continuing to take animals in from the public and also trying to reunite owners with their animals at this location.
The president will be in California tomorrow to tour areas impacted by the wildfires. He will meet with state leaders and first responders outside of Sacramento. It comes after he was criticized for largely ignoring the crisis. The wildfire also having an impact on the air quality all the way up to Canada. The smoke is prompting warnings of toxic smoke and that the air can be difficult to breathe. A dense layer of smoke is threatening to cover much of British Columbia. Portland recently received a report that they had the worst air quality in the world. Time to take a look at some local headlines now. A Valley man is facing several charges tonight, accused of shooting a New Mexico State police officer. 28-year-old Robert Nelson from Scottsdale was stopped by an officer yesterday morning. That's when he allegedly opened fire on the officer. The officer was hit but is doing okay. Officers say that Nelson fled the scene but was soon caught near Albuquerque. He's now facing several charges, including attempted murder. Here in the Valley, the TSA comes across a couple of loaded weapons on the same day. It happened at Sky Harbor on Saturday in two separate incidents. They say they discovered the two loaded guns and ammunition. Weapons, of course, not allowed on commercial flights and can result in fines and travel suspensions. Now to the latest coronavirus numbers from the health department, reporting 384 new COVID-19 cases and 7 additional deaths. The weekly positive rate for testing over the past 2 weeks is holding steady at 4%. A wake-up call now for thousands of Arizonans collecting unemployment. That extra $300 a week they've been getting came to an end today. The state of Arizona pays the second lowest unemployment benefits in the country. The maximum amount allowed, $240 a week. We caught up to Randy Rosen in Pine Top with a weak internet connection, but he told us about the difficulty of finding a new job these days.
Now, the competition for jobs is greater because there's more people out of work and they're applying for everything.
A bill to reinstate the $300 in Congress didn't go anywhere, with Republicans and Democrats unable to find common ground. Arizona was the first state to pay out the $300 extra payments and paid out $800 million in total. Well, doctors are urging people to get the flu shot now. The COVID-19 outbreak and flu season are on a collision course this fall, and there is fear that hospitals and clinics could be overwhelmed. Ty Brennan takes a look. The Phoenix Zoo is close to reopening. Starting tomorrow, zoo members will be allowed in between 6 a.m. and noon, and the zoo will be open to the general public on Saturday. Some of the exhibits are still closed, but things like Stingray Bay, Safari Cruiser, and camel rides will be open. The zoo closed for a second time back in July because of the pandemic. By the way, masks will be required and when social distancing is not possible. Some Valley firefighters come up with a way to deal with the youngest victims when time is of the essence. And Valley families build solidarity with parents in the NICU. We'll tell you how it's helping bring comfort.
You're watching the best. Fox 10 News at 10.
Tonight at 10, President Trump returns to the Valley tomorrow in an effort to land the Latino vote. Plus, another Valley city moving closer to fully reopening. Flagstaff enters phase 3. And the NFL is back. How some Cardinals fans watch the first win of the season. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am Brian Webb. We want to start with the Fox 10 News Alert tonight. 2 people rushed to the hospital after a shooting in Phoenix. It happened around 7:30 near 20th Street and Southern Avenue. Details surrounding the shooting are still unclear. We do know 2 victims are seriously injured. We will continue to follow this story. Well, the Cardinals go into Levi's Stadium and beat the division rival San Francisco 49ers today, 24-20. The win giving the Valley something to cheer about already, even if it was from afar. Jennifer Martinez has more. And a quick reminder, the CDC has issued a warning this week, though, against dining indoors. They say it's too risky still because masks cannot be worn when people are eating or drinking. They recommend sticking with takeout for now. Let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers from the health department. They report 389 new cases and 7 additional deaths today. The weekly positive rate for testing is holding steady at 4% for the past month. The city of Flagstaff is entering phase 3 of its reopening. That clears the way for several facilities in the city to reopen slowly. City Hall and the main library will reopen tomorrow with limited hours. The East Community Library will open back up in a couple of weeks. If you're looking for more information on the outbreak, Fox has created a website with all the news you need to know in one place. Just head to coronavirusnow.com. Another trip to the Valley for President Trump. He's going to be at the Arizona Grand Resort in Phoenix tomorrow, courting Latino voters at a round table. It's his 5th visit to Arizona so far this year. It's the president's latest push to compete for Latino voters in this battleground state. Justin Lum has more on the visit. Gila River Arena will turn into a giant voting center for the general election. The Arizona Coyotes are teaming up with the City of Glendale and Maricopa County Elections Department to make it happen. The arena will be open October 28th through November 3rd with extra space for social distancing. Coming up, the search continues for the man who ambushed 2 LA County deputies. The latest on the investigation and updates on their conditions.